الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد خاتم النبيين وعلى آله الطاهرين وصحابته أجمعين والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, so we were in our introduction to Arabic grammar, and we were going through the book Zahratun Nahr, and we were going through the chapter of Al-Marfu'at, the chapter of those words that will be in the rafa' case. And we went through the first 5 chapters. So we went through the chapter of al-fa'il, the doer, na'ib al-fa'il, the substitute doer, which is connected to the second type of verb that I mentioned and I re-explained in the previous video. And I went through the chapter of al-mubtada and al-khabar, the third and the fourth words. The third and the fourth words that will be in the rafa' case, the subject and the information. And then I went through the chapter of inna wa akhawatuha, the chapter of inna, the particle inna, and the particles that are like inna, and how they affect the words of an informative sentence. And now we're going to go into, and the chapter of inna has 6 particles. And those particles are inna, anna, ka'anna, layta, lakinna, and la'alla. And now we're going into the 6th chapter, the 6th chapter of al-marfu'at, the 6th chapter of those words or those things that will be in the rafa' case. And this is the chapter of la linafyi al-jins. So la linafyi al-jins. And what that means is that la, that particle laam alif, that particle la that negates the entire genus, that negates the thing that is negating in its entirety. And it's a very quick chapter to do, so this video will be very short. And this chapter is about this specific type of la that negates the thing that it's negating completely. So the mu'allif, the author of this book, rahimahullah ta'ala, or hafidhahullah ta'ala wa ra'ah, he mentions as an example in here, he says, la rajula qa'imun. He mentions that here, if you want to say that there is not a single person standing. So for example, you're in a majlis and everyone is sitting down. So you're in the masjid and you're in a gathering and no one is standing and everyone is sitting down, then you can say la rajula qa'imun, that there is not a single person, standing. And you can also say the opposite. So if everyone is standing, you can say la rajula jalis, that there is not a single person that is sitting down. Okay, and now we need to talk about how this particle affects the words of an informative sentence. So when this particle comes into a sentence, it will make the mubtada, the subject of this sentence, in the nasb case. But along with that, it will make the mubtada in the nasb case, meaning in the most common case, it will have a fatha or fathatain. But when it comes to this type of la that negates the full genus, then it will make it only have one fatha. So it won't have fathatain. It will have one fatha. So you won't say la rajulan. You're going to say la rajula with a single fatha. And this is only specific to this specific type of la that negates the full genus and negates the thing that it's negating in its entirety. So you say la rajula qa'imun. And what the grammarians say is that the word that you make the subject after this specific la, you have to make sure it's a few things. So you have to make sure that this word is not ma'rifah. You you have to make sure that this word isn't one of those 7 words that are considered to be specific in the Arabic language. And I mentioned that in one of the previous videos where we went over the chapter of ma'rifah, specific, and nakira, unspecific. So if the word that you want to make the subject of this specific particle lam alif that negates the full genus, then you have to make sure that this word is an unspecific word. You have to make sure that this word is nakira. And that's what I want to mention. I don't want to go too deep and mention too much in this introduction and this very simplified, basic explanation, an introduction to Arabic grammar. So that's what the grammarians have mentioned. And if we on this channel go over any other books, then we'll explain it in proper detail when we do. But for now, we're going to stick to the basic explanation. So he mentions here, لا طالب غائب, that there is not a single student that's absent. لا طالب. So طالب is a nakira word, meaning it's an unspecific word by itself, meaning there's no alif lam on it, nothing. And then it's an unspecific word, so it's not ma'rifah, it's nakira, an unspecific word. And we've only put 1 fatha on it. Perfect. That's how you treat the mubtada, the subject of this specific lam alif particle that negates the full genus. And again, I want to mention that the mubtada, the subject of this specific lam alif that negates the full genus and negates what it's negating in its entirety, it will make this the mubtada of it, and it will make the subject of this lam, and it will make the subject of this la have a single fatha. And the subject, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the subject of this la has to be an unspecific word, so it has to be nakira. And the last example of this chapter is la dukkana maftuhun, and that means that there is not a single shop. There is not a single shop open right now. Oh, sorry, not right now, but there is not a single shop open. So, for example, it's nighttime and you say that to someone, la dukkana maftuh. There is not a single shop open. So again, dukkan is an unspecific word, and we've put 1 fatha on it. La dukkana maftuhun. And that is the chapter of La allati li nafyi al-jins. So for example, Ibn Malik in his Alfiyya, he chapters it as La allati li nafyi al-jins. And the author is basically chaptering it the same. And he mentions La li nafyi al-jins. That La that negates the genus completely and negates what it's negating completely. And that is the chapter of La li nafyi al-jins. It's a very quick chapter. So this episode was very quick. But don't let that fool you, because the next chapter is going to be very long. And it's going to be Al-Af'al Al-Naqisa. And it actually has a lot of huruf in there to memorize. So this chapter is short, but it's a good thing preparing you for the next one. The next chapter is quite long. It's got a lot of huruf in there. So I guess this chapter is short, so the next one can be long, inshallah. So this is the chapter of La li nafyi al-jins, and this is the chapter of La li nafyi al-jins. Any mistake that I made or a shortcoming was from me and shaitan, and Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam are both free from it. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.